Good afternoon. We'll call the Fiscal Committee meeting to order for our meeting on September 5th. First item is acceptance of the minutes from June 20th, 2025. Senator Gray moves to accept. Senator Birdsell seconds. Is there any changes or omissions? Seeing none. Did I say something wrong? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
I'll abstain, Mr. Chair. This is Rep. Mooney here on the end. Abstain.
All right, so noted. Representative Mooney abstains.
Same here, Mr. Chair.
And as well, okay, thank you.
You might point out that the alternates don't vote. You might point out that the alternates don't vote.
And as an alternate, you don't need to vote anyway. Thank you. Okay. Any old business that we want taken off the table?
So there's one item, Representative, this has to do with YDC Claims Administration. It was actually a request made for 25 funds on November, that fiscal year is closed. On September 30th, we receive a preliminary ACFR. So for the next fiscal committee, that old business will be removed. No further actions needed from the committee.
Thank you. All right, so moving on to the consent calendar, I show on some items removed. Under tab 5, items 223 and 224. Under tab 6, item 222. And under tab 7, item 231. Are there any further items that any of the committee members wish to remove from the consent calendar? Okay, tab 5, 223 and 224. That's on your third page. Then under tab 6, at the bottom of page 4, 222. And on page 5, tab 7, 231. Is there any other items any committee member wishes to remove? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion to adopt the consent calendar with the remaining items. Motion by Senator Gray, seconded by Senator Birdsell to approve the consent calendar with the exception of the items mentioned. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. All right, we will move on tab 5. Items 223. And doing my best. Sorry, I missed. I was in the middle of projects, and thankfully, Representative Erf reminded me of this meeting.
Maybe not thankfully.
No, I have a good record of not missing meetings. So, all right. Okay. Item FIS 25223 is the Department of Health and Human Services. They're here ready, and I guess Representative Mooney has questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Thank you both for being here. It seems to me that there have been numerous attempts on the House side to connect, of course, Medicaid with DOE records to sort of streamline information. And those attempts have been rejected on the House side. Then I see this item using such verbiage like interface between the New Hampshire Department of Education, share relevant data files to determine eligibility, interface to automate application processing and tracking for eligibility. So I'm just interested in how this item plays with the previous attempts to connect these two departments with regards to this subject matter. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the question. For the record, my name is Karen Hebert, and I'm the Director for the Division of Economic Stability with DHHS. So again, thank you for the question. So this particular item would provide the funding necessary to create or establish a single database between the Department of Education and DHHS for the purposes of identifying children who are eligible for the summer EBT program. So it isn't directly related to Medicaid. The summer EBT program, that particular benefit is available for children who are receiving Medicaid, but it isn't a database that is intended to assist the department in any way to support eligibility for Medicaid. It's to support eligibility for the summer EBT program.
Thank you. And that passed a term ago, so this is basically the infrastructure to make that summer EBT program.
That's correct.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Representative Erb for a question.
So actually, the Medicaid angle came from me, not from Representative Boney. And my question was, and I understood what you were doing with the EBT program, but my question is looking forward. It would be nice, as I'm sure you're aware, we're looking at Medicaid for schools, if we were thinking about that as well. And I'm just wondering, is it, when we get to that point, is it going to be yet another database and a whole separate development effort, or are we going to try to do some sort of an integrated, over time, database plan?
Yeah, I think that thank you for the question, Representative. I think that there is always an opportunity to really take a look at how can we streamline databases and information so that we don't have to duplicate efforts and spend more money than is necessary. So I think that when we establish something like this, it is very much looked at a little bit more narrowly from the federal government's perspective and what the requirements are that we need to put into place. So moving forward for the future, I think we will always be looking at how can we tie some of the things together so that we do effectuate that kind of positive change.
Thank you. So when we look at catastrophic aid, and we look at how much the local district pays before they qualify for catastrophic aid, we are never informed how much of that may be Medicaid funds that they are counting in as their effort, as their total effort. By doing these combination, both HHS and education, are we going to be able to look at that number and identify it? Or will it still be this HIPAA thing where you won't let us know?
So thank you for your question. I'm not sure I can answer your question as it relates specifically to Medicaid, and I would defer to my colleague from the Division of Medicaid. But so this specifically is about the summer EBT program pretty exclusively.
I know it's specific to that,
Okay.
but since you're combining two databases, will it help with that question?
I can take a look at that, and perhaps I can respond outside of the meeting here today.
All right,
if that's
you can get
helpful.
back to me on that.
Sure.
Thank you. But
Thank
it's
you.
something that's been a concern.
Yeah.
Senator Carson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm not sure if you would be the person that I would speak with, but I'm glad to see that you're looking to interface between the Department of Education and the Department of Health and Human Services. One issue that has come up, and it has to do with school districts and the number of students that they have during the regular school year on free and reduced lunch. Is there any way to, when this program is up and running, to ensure that the districts, the school districts, are filing for reimbursement for from the federal government for free and reduced lunch? Is there a way to keep track of that with this program, or would it need to be something bigger than this?
I think it is bigger than this
Okay.
particular item. And again, I would want to consult with my colleagues from the Department of Education to
Okay.
provide a better answer for you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any further questions on item 223? We'll entertain a motion to adopt the item.
So moved.
Senator Gray moves to adopt, Senator Rosenwald seconds on item 25223. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, are you ready for the question? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no.
No,
Get a no, you wish to be recorded?
yes.
All right, Representative Mooney votes no. All right. The motion passes. We're moving on to FIS 25224. Again, Department of Health and Human Services, and again, Representative Mooney is recognized for questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you again. Just curious as to what entails the phrase high-quality services found on page 2 of the request. If you could expound on that, that would be great. Thank you.
Certainly, thank you for the question. So I think that what I can do is provide you with the standards that the Office of Child Care through the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services sets for what those early learning standards are and how they define quality specifically. I'd be more than happy to send you that information.
Very well, thank you.
Any other member have a question on item 224?
Move to approve.
Senator Gray moves to approve. Senator Birdsell seconds. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, you ready for the question? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. That item is adopted. We're moving on to tab 6 and item 222. And let's see, who had the question on this? Senator Rosenwald has a question.
Thank
This
you
is,
very much,
Again,
Mr. Chair.
HHS.
A couple of questions, I think a couple. I mean, when I look at the dashboard, caseloads in CFI have been trending down since state fiscal year 2023, both in home care and in mid-level care. So I'm wondering how this program is successful.
Thank you for your question. I'm Melissa Hardy. I'm the Division Director for Long-Term Supports and Services. Can I just ask a clarifying question? When you say this program, you're talking about CFI or are you talking about MFP?
The money follows
Money follows the person. Thank you. Money follows the person is 100% federally funded. That actually provides more services than what we can provide under CFI with looking at transitions from institutions to home and community-based care. So under Money Follows the Person, there's extra services such as, funding for home furnishings, housing navigation, person-centered planning. So it's above and beyond what CFI provides as far as the support to the individual. And it's, you have specialized case management that comes along with that. That is up to 365 days post-discharge from an institution. So the flexibility in Money Follows the Person, it really is what makes it different than what we can do under CFI as far as the supports we can give that are not, that are not matched funds. These are all federal dollars.
Further question?
Thank you. So how much federal funding will we be getting over the 5 years?
Yeah, so we were appropriated at the beginning. We were told we get $5 million for project, building up the project and infrastructure. And then we can go back and ask, for additional funds if we have other projects we want to work on. So recently we went back to CMS and asked if we could use some of the money for IT infrastructure to help, providers and users of the system to ease into the services that are available. So we were able to ask for additional funding again, not any state funds, but federal funds to help our IT system. So they did approve that. So we're able to ask for additional funds above and beyond what they initially give us as funding.
One more if I could. So I was reading the operational plan for Money Follows the Person, and I'm familiar with what that program was like originally.
Yes.
And I noticed that in year one, your target is to transition 5 people out of nursing homes. And by year 5, it's 35 people. So it's not a lot of people for a lot of money. Is the money going to be spent mostly on staffing? Or, I mean, you could buy a lot of furniture for $5 million.
Yeah, I do think the numbers that we cited in there are pretty modest. You know, we just got our protocol approved last month, so now we're able to start that actual transition phase. So I'm hoping that, you know, it's more than what we project on there, but those numbers were what we negotiated with CMS as far as looking at our budget and what's reasonable. I will say, as far as staffing, we have 2 staff members at DHHS that administer the program. And we're looking to contract out some services as far as the intensive case management service and some of the housing navigation services. So it is, you know, when you look at the numbers right now, looking at it, you know, administratively costly. But when you compare that cost to somebody living in the community versus in an institution or somebody who's living at New Hampshire Hospital, you know, I think we will see the cost benefit there for people to live in the community.
Thank you.
Any other questions from any other member of the committee on this item? I'll entertain a motion to adopt the item. Represent. Okay.
First.
Senator Carson moves to adopt item 25222. Senator Gray seconds the motion. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That item is adopted. Okay, moving on to tab 7, item 231. And I believe it's Senator Birdsell had a question on the item. Or is it Senator Rosenwald again? Yes, Senator Rosenwald is recognized.
Well, thank you. And the question's kind of been answered, but just in the interest of transparency, we were all told that ARPA funds had to be locked down as of the end of last year. And now we're hearing that sometimes they can be reallocated. So could you please explain?
I'll explain my understanding, although there may be smarter people in the room. In fact, there almost certainly are. I'm Charlie Arlinghouse. I'm the Commissioner of Administrative Services. I forgot for a minute. So my understanding in ARPA is, and we all thought what you thought, but my understanding is that additional guidance from U.S. Treasury recently has been that for projects, so think of construction, right? For most, many of the ARPA projects are like construction projects, where you think you're going to spend 10.65 million and you spent 10.55 million, let's say. And what they've said is that you can take those the extras, if you will, the 100 grand it turns out you didn't need, and you can repurpose it, but not for new stuff. You can repurpose it by adding it to old stuff, something that's already been approved, already gone through the process, and is already on the books, if you will. So, for example, what you'll see happening here is there's a construction project to build a new YDC. It's an existing, already authorized project. we couldn't decide on our own to build a second YDC. I don't know why we would do that, but you can take some of the accumulations and move them to something that's already been approved. The technicalities beyond that, I would defer to Commissioner Caswell.
Was the project running over budget, or was this the additional things we added at the last minute?
They're the additional things. When the project was bid, it was bid with 15 ad alternates. Because while we had an estimate for the price, we just weren't sure what was going to happen. And in fact, we had one bidder and they came in fairly high. So while we adopted some of the ad alternates, this is some of the other ad alternates in the budget.
And it can be finished by the deadline.
Oh, yeah, it's going well.
Very good. Thank you. Any further questions on item 25231?
I was just going to move to approve.
I did actually have a question.
Okay, further questions?
Because yesterday when we spoke on the phone, commissioners, you said that these 3 items were in the original plans. So now I'm a little confused.
Well, when we spoke, you asked specifically about the crisis stabilization unit, and that was in the first part of the work. So it's not in the packet that you have today. The ad alternate specifically for those dollars allotted, or it's that amount of work, that amount of money for those that are marked in the docket.
So
Follow up?
so were we going to build this facility without a classroom?
We were going to have to get creative with how we define classroom if we couldn't get the money to do classroom, yes.
Okay, thank you.
A motion by Senator Birdsell, second by Senator Gray to approve item 25231. Any further questions and discussions from committee members? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion is adopted. Finished with the consent calendar and move to the regular calendar. Which I guess there isn't one.
Right. It's 6. Right there.
Yep. Okay. Informational items. Any questions on any of those? Seeing none. I guess we're ready to move to audits. Do you have any items? Thank you. All right, we're ready for the audit.
Mr. Chair, just to remind the committee, this audit has been released based on the previous actions of the committee to release audits once they make it to the agenda.
Very good.
So no further motions are needed.
The IRF motion.
Good for something.
And for reminding me.
Yeah, you're right, it probably is. Yeah.
Good morning. Oh, good afternoon. Let me get it
Good
straight.
afternoon, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Christine Young. I'm the Director of Audits for the LBA. And we're here this afternoon to present the management letter for the audit of the Liquor Commission. Jim LaRiviere, he's a senior audit manager from our office. He was the in-charge manager on the audit, and he'll present the report. And joining us is Chairman Joe Malika, Chief Financial Officer Tina Demers, Director of Administration, Patricia Peters, and from DOIT, Dennis Goulet, the Commissioner. So with that, I will turn it over to Jim for the presentation of the report.
Good afternoon, Chairman Weiler and members of the committee. Again, for the record, my name is Jim Lariviere, and we are here to present the New Hampshire Liquor Commission's fiscal year 2024 management letter. If you turn to the table of contents, you can see this report contains 13 internal control comments. The first two, which are identified as material weaknesses. The Liquor Commission concurred with all the observations except for observation number 6, which I will address later in this presentation. Our recommendation summary begins on page 3. None of the observations suggest that legislative action may be required. The observations begin on page 6. Observation number 1, during the last quarter of fiscal year 2024, the Commission implemented a new computer system, the NextGen system. This observation discusses the need for the Commission to strengthen internal controls over the NextGen system. When the NextGen system went live, internal controls over the system had not been fully designed, developed, documented, or understood, contributing to the material weaknesses and significant deficiencies in internal controls described in this report. This process expected to be performed by the system included the design of internal controls and the production of effective management reports and data were not adequately planned or tested prior to being placed into operation. We recommended the Liquor Commission expand its understanding of the NextGen system, create a data dictionary, develop and document policies and procedures including key controls for all transaction processes, and investigate the cause of the system automatically posting phantom transactions to New Hampshire First. Turning to page 8, observation number 2, recommends the Commission establish and document a formal risk assessment process for identifying, analyzing, and responding to risks, especially risk related to the implementation of the NextGen system. And that the Commission review its financial and operational activities for indicators of risk exposures and establish and monitor controls to address those risks. Observation number 3 on page 10 recommends the Commission implement an effective process for reconciling its NextGen system accounts to New Hampshire First. Any difficulties encountered in the reconciliation process should be communicated to the Department of Administrative Services for their guidance. Observation number 4 on page 11 notes that the Commission has not properly designed its daily cash receipt controls for the NextGen system, as the control did not include evidence of the reconciliation of daily cash receipts to the bank deposits. We recommend the Commission develop policies and procedures to effectively account for its daily cash receipts using the NextGen system. Observation number 5 on page 12 recommends the Commission maintain subsidiary ledgers or other detailed support for its receivables and periodically reconcile its accounts receivable and payable balances recorded in NextGen to the corresponding balance in New Hampshire First. Observation number 6, beginning on page 13, recommends the Commission reduce risk for services outsourced to third-party organizations by developing policies and procedures for determining whether a system organization's controls report, known as a SOC report, is needed. A SOC report can provide the Commission with important information about the design and effectiveness of internal controls over information technology systems and data that are outsourced, such as controls over financial reporting or controls unrelated to financial reporting, like controls over security, availability, processing integrity, confidentiality, and privacy of customer data. The SOC reports could help the Commission identify if there are certain risks present at the third-party organization that need to be mitigated by the Commission. The commission disagreed with the recommendation and cites alternatives to managing vendor risks. However, those other alternatives have their own specific purposes and do not fully address the benefits that a SOC report could provide, such as identifying financial reporting risk. Ultimately, the commission management must decide how much risk they are willing to accept. The Department of Administrative Services agreed to work with the commission to identify relevant state contracts and the potential need to include a provision requiring a SOC report in future contracts. Observation number 7, beginning on page 16, has been a finding included in several management letters since 2019. It recommends the commission develop an internal audit function in accordance with professional standards, and that is supported by a charter designed to help improve the commission's financial accounting, reporting, and compliance activities. Observation number 8, starting on page 18, recommends the commission make improvements to its accounting and reporting for leases in accordance with Governmental Accounting Standard Board standards. Observation number 9, beginning on page 19, recommends the commission develop policies and procedures for estimating breakage for gift cards sold that will never be redeemed, and report and distribute to the state's abandoned property program those gift card balances exceeding $250 that are more than 5 years old that have not been claimed in accordance with state law. Observations number 10 through 13 are specific to information technology. Observation number 10 on page 21 recommends next-gen system foundational documents, including a risk assessment, disaster recovery and business continuity plan, security management plan, and an incident response plan be developed. Observation number 11 recommends the commission develop a baseline configuration for its next-gen system in accordance with the Department of Information Technology's configuration management policy, and implement the next-gen workflow process to ensure proper segregation of duties and transaction processing functions. Observation number 12 on page 25 recommends excess next-gen system administrator accounts be deleted. And observation number 13 on page 27 recommends that the Liquor Commission revoke developers' access to the next-gen production environment. The current status of prior audit findings for fiscal years 2023 and 2022 begin on page 29, located behind the tab. Of the combined 9 comments contained in those reports, 5 have been fully resolved and 4 are still in the process of being remediated. This concludes my presentation. I'd like to thank the Liquor Commission for their assistance throughout the audit. And with your permission, Chairman, I'd like to turn the presentation over to the Liquor Commission for any comments they have.
Thank you. Commissioner, your comments.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. I'd just like to thank the LBA for their work that they do with us every year. Christine and Jim, they do wonderful work. Just a quick note that the Liquor Commission was on its new system after leaving a 40-year-old legacy system for 3 months when this audit was done. And I think historically, what you've seen from the Liquor Commission is when there is a problem, we remediate it, and we'll continue to do so. I'd be happy to take any questions that anyone may have. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Committee members have any questions? Senator Gray.
Not just for the Liquor Commission, but for all the audits that we do. I want to have estimated completion dates for all the action items. I'm going to work with LBA and other people to go implement that. I want to know how many times it's been rescheduled, if it's rescheduled, what the original date was, and those kind of things. Because when we looked at Claremont and their educational problems, the state knew, the school board knew, nobody was tracking the stuff. And so with these audits, certainly for this one, Commissioner, I would ask you to provide completion dates for the old ones fairly soon. And for the new items to provide completion dates, in the future so that we can at least start that process.
Certainly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Further from the committee, Senator Waters.
Yeah, thank you. I want to thank my colleague, Senator Gray, for raising this issue in our pre-fiscal meeting. And I do think that another suggestion that Senator Gray raised, that we integrate into the joint fiscal meetings on perhaps a 3-month basis or something, a review of progress on previous audits. And I don't know if Senator Gray want to remark more about that, but I think that that's, it really would be good to have some kind of procedure embedded in this committee for that kind of review as well.
Senator Gray.
Because the actions that needed to happen are on the other side of the fence from us. So the governor is responsible for all those. I wasn't going to go that far until, I had a chance to talk with the governor and his staff.
Questions from any other committee member on the audit? I'm happy to see Director Goulet here. How is the next gen going in the other departments? You can probably push that button. Yeah.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. Dennis Goulet, the Commissioner of the Department of Information Technology. I think what you're asking is how is our system modernization effort going in other departments? There are a lot of activities going on. Actually, liquor is the only one of 2 departments that are running this Dynamics 365 system. The other is energy, much smaller implementation there, but there's a whole bunch of modernization going on throughout the executive branch of government. And I'd say that the projects overall are being well governed, and each one has its own challenges. Every time, particularly when we do a large project like Next Gen at Liquor, it's always more difficult than you thought going in. So we do face those challenges all the time, and of course, resource challenges, particularly now as we absorb our new budget situation. But overall, there's quite a lot of system modernization going on, and throughout the executive branch, and in nearly particularly every large agency.
So, Commissioner, this Next Gen isn't being implemented all over the state immediately. It's just
No, this Next Gen implementation is very specific to liquor. One of the reasons why this solution was chosen by liquor through the RFP process, which actually was going on when I first joined the state many years ago, was because of the strong point of sale capability that's attached to it, which we really don't have anything like that anywhere else, any requirements like that. So this dynamic system also could be looked at as a CRM or a case management system, but we've actually standardized on Salesforce for case management, licensing and permitting, and grants management. So I don't expect a ton of this particular technology to proliferate around the executive branch.
Thank you. Any other questions from the committee? Commissioner Mulligan.
Mr. Chairman, I neglected to introduce Tina Demers, our CFO, and Patricia Peters, our Director of Administration. I'd like the committee to know, and thank Dennis and his team for their help in this enormous project. It's been undertaken. It's been very successful at the Liquor Commission, and we're hoping to have the remediation of these items very quickly. So thank you.
Well, you do have a unique operation with all the sales and all the different outlets and all the different payment systems. Yeah, it's complicated.
We certainly do. Thank you for
We
recognizing
appreciate
that.
the fact that you've got it down to 12 comments.
Too bad.
Some of the other
A lot of
agencies
teamwork.
get a lot more.
A lot of
Mr. La
teamwork.
Riviera is very thorough.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee.
I'm impressed.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate all the good work from all of you working together. All right, I believe we've already had a motion to accept it. This report, place it on file and release in the usual manner. And congratulations to you all for your fine work. Further questions?
Not related to this, as an add-on. Fiscal Committee has responsibility to oversee the budget.
Correct.
Last year, what was the actual number we ended with as a deficit that we made up through other means? That's unacceptable. I have asked a whole bunch of people to come see me about this. We need to figure out what reports we need to do, to look at month by month, or have quarterly meetings or whatever, to get us to a place where we don't end the year with a deficit. We can't take action, but we can use our voice. We can tell the governor, hey, this isn't happening, okay? Or whatever we need to be able to do, okay? But that's another thing that this committee needs to do, is start figuring out what it is that we need to look at so that we do. And the biggest problem, as I see it, is lapses.
Is what?
Lapses.
Yeah.
That we have no idea whether the commissioners are giving us the right numbers, not the right numbers, come in and say, oh, it's good, it's good, it's good. And then as we get, well, it's bad, it's terrible. Okay. And so we need to get there. We need to be able to do that kind of stuff. What is the revenue projection so far this year? It is by how much?
About 10. Yeah, 10 million.
Okay.
Projected to be over 100.
I got two fingers down there. I don't know what the two fingers mean. 20 million. So again, part of that was projected through the Ways and Means committees, is that it was going to be soft until January and then hopefully pick up. Well, again, shame on us last year, okay? And double shame on us if we don't do anything for the next one. Thank you.
Okay.
Chairman,
Senator Carson?
I'd like to be on record of supporting Senator Gray's comments. I'm new to finance and 25 years just in policy. And looking at the financial reports and seeing that we are behind, I would rather be very proactive in addressing a deficit rather than waiting until the end and just letting it accumulate over time. And at that point, it does at some point seem insurmountable. So I would like to just echo and support Senator Gray's comments. I think we need to get a handle on these and get it done early so we can control the deficit.
Well, I
Thank
would
you.
say that had we stuck with the House Ways and Means estimates, we wouldn't be having this problem now. But anyway, we'll try to come up with a date for the next meeting.
Sure, the third Friday in October is the 17th.
October 17th?
Yes, that's the.
October 17th, okay. So far, no conflicts, anybody?
Yes. October 17th.
Mr. Chair, 1 o'clock?
We were doing it, but
Mr. Chairman, are you good at 11 on the 17th?
Anybody object to 11 o'clock on the 17th? And I guess we'll do this at Granite Place?
if I can find it.
11 o'clock. Probably we'll do pre-fiscal at 10 for the House members. And we'll be at Granite Place. I think it's room 230 that we have. All right, anything further? I thank you all for your attendance and look forward to our meeting on October 2nd. We'll have some ideas on that. There's nothing further?
Different meeting.
Yeah. The meeting with the two of them.
Yep. If nothing further, we are adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you.